Hi everyone. So in this video, what we are going to do is to continue our path to carve out our domain model a little bit more. So right until now, what we have is we have customers and we have products. And since we are in a rental business, it's actually not the abstract concept of a product that you rent, but you actually rent physical goods. So this means normally, for example, let's say a product is an iPad, and then you have different instances of this iPad, like with different serial numbers and just different objects basically. And when you rent something, then it's actually this particular thing, this particular iPad, and not the iPad concept in general. So what we need for that, in order to model this out, is instead of using a product, we can create a thing called stock item. And a stock item has a relationship to the product, which means that normally a product consists of multiple stock items. And these stock items then can be rented and are available and or not for rental, and so on and so forth. So this is what we are going to cover in this video. So we will create the stock item entity, then we will assign stock items to products, and then we also allow to store information, somewhat identifiable information for the stock items, like for example license plate information or serial numbers, or perhaps we also just roll with the abstract idea of an identifier, then people can enter in whatever they want there. Okay, let's start. I already created our feature branch for the product stock items, and created like a dedicated database for it. So this is where we can now actually start. So I will put this here as well under the product, because it is somehow related to the product, I would say. Yeah, and let's probably just call it stock item. We will once again extend from the standard entity. And so, what we could, for example, do is to have this column identifier. And for now, it should be just of type string, and probably it is, for the most cases, it isn't necessary, I would say so, but this might also not be the case. So depending on which stuff we want to actually rent, it might be the case that you don't have something that is identifiable. But probably for now, as a beginning, let's just make that this identifier mandatory, and we will also make it not blank. Okay, so this means we can now go to the product and create a new association, which is then stock items. And this association is of type composition. So this is a little bit different, for example. And also it's actually the same as we have it for the price. And this makes sense because, creating a stock item without having a conceptual representation like the product associated to it is probably not needed. It's like this kind of behavior. So the cardinality will be one to many, and then it would go to the stock item. Right now we don't have an inverse attribute, so I will do that here in the stock item entity. Say many to one, and yeah, this is just fine. And with that, we can have now created our association. We see here the problem that we have seen also last time, so I think this is a temporary glitch. Let me just yeah, okay, so let's do it like this. So for now I will just copy and paste those because they are literally the same. So we also have this product association in the stock item now, and this is everything or all that we need. So we can also add the not null annotation here, and probably the instance name would be the identifier. So this is what, at least what I would assume. Okay, so when we now go to our product page, then we will probably want to add this particular attribute similarly to what we have here in the prices box. So let's go to the product once again and say we will have stock items, and just say add entity to screens, and here we will just add it to the editor. So this means now we have two group boxes. First prices, and secondly it will be then the stock items, and both of those we have actually in our fetch plan. So here we will probably also need to define a fetch plan. I would just now go with the base fetch plan, meaning all the local attributes from stock item plus all the ones from instance name. Okay, so with that, I think we can already generate our liquid-based changelog and take a look on what has changed. So we have now our stock item table. We have the standard columns, and we have reference to a product, and we also have the identifier column here. And the next thing is that we want to have a foreign key constraint to the product. Okay, so this all looks good and fine. So let's just go there and rename this accordingly. So this will then be create product stock items. Okay, with that we can now run our application and take a look at the result. So right now we didn't, generated any UI, explicit UI for the stock item itself. So if we now go here and create a new product, then we see that we can also create the stock items. If we look at the product edit, we once again have these lot of columns that we all do not want, so I'm not interested in all of those. So probably let's just get rid of this. And additionally, what we have is when we click here right now, we don't have a screen that actually is showing or displaying the form of the stock item. So let's fix that as well. If we go here and say screens, new screen, then we can just say we would like to have a standard editor. I think this will be, or like an entity editor. This will be enough for now because we don't have. Probably you can put it under the roof of the product and don't need to have like a menu entry or whatever, and a browse screen as well. So we can make that a modal dialog. I think we can put that under screen product. Let's double check what the so it's actually the other way around. So it's product screen, and then we have our stock item. Okay, so with that, I think it can all stay as is for now. I'll just change that here. So if we now go to our running application, we can also save it here, and click the create button, then we are able to create one new stock item and make that, let's provide an identifier. So this will be our identifier for now. Okay, and then let's just store it. So here we already see that this is actually exactly, expecting, we are working as expected. So with that, now we have this one already achieved, the assigned stock items to product. This is also what we have done. The store identifiable information. So right now we went with this abstract thing of an identifier. Perhaps for now we can leave it as is, because let's say we are just not sure on if every product or every stock item has a license plate or whatever. So then right now this probably is just good enough. So then there's perhaps one thing that we can improve here a little bit, is this group box functionality, which doesn't look very good, because it's just under these under each other, and just is not very well aligned here. So what I will do instead is to create a tab sheet. So this will bring all of those information into a proper order, and then we have at the top one option to basically click and either go into the prices or go into the stock items, or just changing the general information of the product. So let's just create a content tab here, or content tab sheet is actually the right one, and probably we can do it like this. And instead of being a group box, what I will now do is to make this a tab, and make this a tab as well. So nothing should change here actually, besides the fact that what we can do is to say we would like to have margin, and let's say the other thing is spacing. And okay, and if we now reopen our, I stopped the application, so let's restart that here real quick. And then probably we can also create another tab for the form. I'd have the first entry, or the first information about the name and the category and so on, should be then displayed in this first section. So right now it would look like this. We can just click and activate the different aspects here. Okay, so I think we can actually make that here into this product category and name and description and so on. Like this all should go into a dedicated like a dedicated tab. Okay, so that is also pretty easy, I hope. So let's just create a new tab, and this will be then the form tab. Actually, we should also rename that, because this is not accurate anymore. Okay, and in this form tab we will just basically put the form, and let's see how this already looks. Okay, already a little bit, seems to be a little bit cleaner. Right now it says prices, which is also wrong, so this is just because we copied over this here. I think we can call it probably like this. And okay, so with that we have it looks already slightly better. And perhaps one thing that we can also do is to say that we would like to display this product name here at the very top in a little bit bigger fashion. So the way how to achieve that is that at the beginning, on top of our tab sheet, we can create a label, and we can basically give it a, I don't know, header or product name label, and the value, let's see, is there. Okay, so there is actually the possibility to just assign it to a data container, so this is what we can do. So let's just put it to the product data container, and then we say property will be the name. And what we can do is to say style name, and for example, we can make it an H1. So this means that it will just display a little bit bigger. Yeah, so now it looks already a little bit better, and if we now change that, it will actually also change. So this is quite nice. But what we will have here is that, for new objects, it will actually not be displayed because we have not entered anything. So, I mean, yeah, probably for now it's just fine to leave it like this. Okay, and perhaps one other thing is that we can also make this description field and give it a dedicated section here, and then also, perhaps change it to a different style. So I think what we can do is just take this one here. This would be product.description. And this will not be, we don't need a form for that, but instead we will only go with the text area, and here the description field can actually go away. So since it's not in a form anymore, what we need to do is to put it into the data container once again, and the property is still there, so this should be fine. I think what we can do is say width 100, and in this tab we can basically also say that we would like to extend or expand this description field. So this means that it will automatically get 100% height. We can also change it. Yeah, let's go here. So now we have our description. Yeah, let's just take a look. Yeah, okay, so this seems to be just fine. So the reason why it doesn't go until the end is because right now, if we look at our expansion of the layout itself, then it says we want to expand the edit actions. So actually, it tries these two buttons to put on the tab and make it, give it as much space as possible. In order to change that, what we can do is just say we would like to extend the content tab sheet. So let's take a look if this already helps. So now the tab sheet will, have all the space that is available, and the buttons just get the rest. And as you now can see, the description is now also full view basically. And for the prices and the stock items, we don't have that yet. So the reason is that we don't have information defined on which component to extend. In this case, it should be the prices table, and with that, I think we can get rid of this height here, and let's do it similarly for this one here, and say this will be the stock items table, and we also get rid of this height. So let's take a look if this helps. Yeah, okay, it does. It actually now, probably correctly just, expands all the tables and all the information. In this general information, I did not do that, and basically didn't define any expand property here. So we can also try how this would look. I personally don't really like that, so this is why I just decided, or we can just skip it. So what happens now if we expand the form is that it will basically evenly distribute all the components inside the form, and I can show you the result. It will basically look like this. So this is probably not what I would want to have. So let's get rid of this once again, and then we are back at our old stage. Okay, and now I think we have achieved all the stuff that we wanted to achieve. And additionally, we also aligned our UI of the product definition page a little bit better. So yeah, with that we are in a good shape. I will just check this box here as well, and I think with that we are now done with the story. That being said, I have not looked into the tests. So first of all, we didn't create any tests for the stock items itself, and then additionally also it might be that because of our change in the UI and making it a tab sheet, we actually now broke the test, but I'm not 100% sure. It might also be that the web integration tests are not actually, yeah, that they basically only interact with the components directly and not, actually they don't have to click on this description in order to see the description, for example. So therefore, it might continue to work. I mean, we can just double check if the existing tests still work. So let's just go here to the tests and say we would like to run all of those. Yeah, so this is what I hoped for, that the test, since they, one might think, or this is actually a good example on why these web integration tests are not real end-to-end tests. So they don't interact with the browser. So this means that they don't, see a visual representation of what we see here, which has, a couple of upsides. For example, that they are a little bit more robust. If you change the layout, then it doesn't really change the way how to interact with the components. On the other hand, it's not, that accurate and doesn't reflect the user. So perhaps at some later point in stage, we want to, put additional testing into this whole end-to-end scenario, like with a Selenium test or something like this. But for now, I think this is just enough. So this means for our task here, the only thing left would be to create a new test case in our product edit test. But I think this will, we will just cover in the next video. Okay, so then thank you very much for watching, and then see you next time.